All right, everybody. I admit I tried to get you with some clickbait, but I promise you, if you stay with me, it'll be well worth your while. Because the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I'm observing in my clients and even in myself that more and more we are getting, succumbed by the clickbait, by the thumbnails, a picture of a person who's, I'm 67 years old and this is what I eat every single day to look like this, and this is what you should do too. Or I'm 87 years old and I'm buff and I'm ripped, and this is what I do for exercise, and so if you follow this, you're gonna look like me. Or, I'm 47 years old and this is my whole, supplement regime, and if you do what I do, because that works for me, then you're gonna look like I look, right? What I have witnessed, even myself sometimes, but definitely in my clients, is that at best, there's a sense of frustration, and at worst, they take away a sense of hopelessness, because they'll watch this and they'll say, you know what, my lifestyle doesn't support anything remotely close to that, or I'm not willing to do that, even if it's going to work, I'm not willing to do it, or I don't want to do that, it's not going to fit with my lifestyle or this stage of my life. And again, that leads to a sense of, well, then if I can't do this, I'm not going to look like that. So, it's hopeless for me. I might as well not even bother. And I don't want you to feel like that, because that is not the case. What we need, instead of falling for the clickbait, and this kind of if it works for me, it's going to work for everybody else, is we need navigation tools for what information do we need to seek out or to accumulate for ourselves and about our bodies that then can either, somebody individually can help you to guide you on the right plan for you, or you can choose from a variety of programs that are available to one that's going to be more in harmony with what your specifics are, that is, you're going to get better results from. All right. And so I'm going to use a metaphor. If you're building a house, you need to lay the foundation and then you need to build the frame. After you do that, then you can concentrate on the details of the cabinetry or the window dressings. All right. But with this clickbait and with this information that is going out as a one-size-fits-all, or this is what works for this person, so it's going to work for everybody, what's missing there, they're giving the details. I'm going to eat, I eat blueberries every day and it's changed my life. And then I have a client that says to me, I read that, blueberries are really good for you, so I added those to my diet. And, I'm not noticing anything different because they're added blueberries, but they're still eating a lot of takeout food. Or somebody's like, this supplement it helps me drop 20 pounds in a month. And then they take the supplement and they have to end up in the ER because they had a GI reaction to it because it was adverse for their body. Point I'm trying to make here is before you get involved with the details, you got to lay the foundation and build your structure for, an eating and exercise plan that is going to be, get you the results you look for. And so now what do you need to know, or what does a practitioner need to know to help you to build that right foundation for you? I have 4 things that you need to know, and the 4 things that I ask a client before I even, design a program for them. The first one is body composition. All right, you need to know not just your scale weight, but what is that weight comprised of? I have an in-body, advanced piece of machinery in my studio here that I use. And if I am working with a client remotely, there's access to these around the world and around the country. And if you can't get access to one of these professional models, then buy either Tanita or Ironman. There's a lot of different companies that you can have a home use one that might not be as critically accurate as if your life depended on it, or if you were an astronaut and had to hit a certain body composition. But it'll give you a baseline that you can then track. Because I work with clients that are the same age and height and gender, and one person has a high amount of body fat and a high amount of muscle, and the other person has a high amount of body fat and a low amount of muscle. Same scale weight, and you can't tell the composition by just looking at somebody, so you need the analysis. But I'm going to design a completely different program for somebody who's going to come in with one of those compositions versus the other. All right, so body composition, highly important. Second is resting metabolism, your resting metabolism rate. All right, this machine right here on my left is the machine I use. You breathe into it for 10 minutes, and it's actually doing a measurement of your metabolism, your metabolic rate. If you don't have access to a machine, or if I'm working with somebody remotely, then we have to go with a less direct measurement. But the body composition scales have an algorithm, so based off your composition, They're going to tell you what your resting metabolism range would be. And there are also formulas. So there's 2 different ways to get that measurement. If you could have a direct measurement, all the better. But if you have the indirect measurement that's based off a composition analysis, then that's your second most accurate. You need to know that piece of information because it varies. Like I have clients of the same age and weight and gender, and one person's resting metabolism is 1,800 calories and somebody else's is 1,200. All right. So that's an important component to know. And if you're not measuring it or you're guessing at it, it could lead to failure. And a program that would work for somebody with one of those metabolisms is not going to work for somebody who has the other one. So we need to know that piece of information. Third piece of information is your daily steps. I have clients that are averaging 3,000 steps a day, and I have other clients that are averaging 17,000 steps a day. That is a measurement of how much movement you have in your everyday life. Not your formal exercise routine, but movement in everyday life, because that is your second highest contributor to your calorie burn rate in a day or your energy burn rate in a day. So it's very important and it's very varied. All right, so we need to know that information. And then the fourth piece is, what is your eating philosophy? Are you somebody who wants to eat a whole food-based program and you're willing to have a little bit of discomfort in trying to establish that? Or are you somebody who's like, I'm more hedonistic. And if you tell me that I can't have foods that I really enjoy, then I'm going to fail, because I'm going to eat those foods. All right. So the eating philosophy for the individual is highly important. And, again, there's science and research that are showing that certain, eating whole foods and whole plant-based fibers and whole animal-based products is definitely better than processed on both of those. But aside from that, the science is very equivocal, which means that it's all over the board. Some people do really well on a carnivore diet. Some people do really well on a vegan diet. Some people do really well on a raw food diet. Some people do really well on a Mediterranean diet. So you need to know somebody's philosophy in order to help them to kind of figure out not just what will be best for their other 3 components that we just measured, but also what they're willing to follow. Because again, it could be the healthiest diet that's going to give you longevity, make you be lean, mean, cut, and beautiful, feel phenomenal. But if you're not willing to follow it, you're not going to get anywhere with it. And somebody else, the clickbait might say, and this is what worked for me. I turned myself around. And that might be inspiring to you. I don't want to discredit that, but I have to know what the philosophy is for a client I'm working with so I can kind of, step them in the direction that is going to be in line with what they're willing to do. And maybe, 3 years down the road, they might be, all plant-based or, following the Mediterranean diet, and that's better than what they were doing when they started. But where are you starting from? That's an important component, all right? And it's highly individualized. So we need to know those 4 pieces of information. And once you know those for yourself, you can sift through the clickbait. You can sift through the various programs that are out there and say, well, this one was more apt to work for me because I've got a good amount of muscle, so I don't have to keep building muscle, which is very in vogue right now for a lot of programs, like you got to do muscle work. I myself don't do a huge amount of muscle work. I have a good amount of muscle if you look at my body composition, but just because that's what's working for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It depends on your body composition, okay? So that's just one example of how, one size does not fit all, and you need to know that information so you can guide yourself and navigate through all the different and continuously growing number of programs and information that's out for you to consume. All right, so now that said, I would love to work with you. Oftentimes, with the information I just described, 1 or 2 consulting sessions is enough to get you to navigate the path that you need to follow and then set you to follow it, right? So I welcome, the opportunity to work with you remotely. My information for how to contact me, and we can have a little dialogue about this, is below. I have my website information, my contact information, my social media information. Look through my information, see, because the other thing that you want to look at whenever you're deciding to work with somebody or what program you want to do is not what did they do to look the way they are, they look, if that's appealing to you, but what's their following? Have they had success with helping other people achieve those goals? And other people who may not have the same body type or the same genetics or the same, history of lifestyle, or the same health history, so it's easy to help somebody who's very much like you, but if you're choosing somebody to work with, you want to vet them a little bit. Have they had success with people that are not like them and helping them to sculpt their bodies or their weight or their health in the way that their goals are aligned with their goals? That's really what you want to be looking for. So, the clickbait is really nice. It's entertaining. I watch this stuff myself, for the entertainment factor and maybe pick up a little piece here and there. But if I was looking to find a program or follow a program, that is not the source I would go to. I would follow, an individual practitioner or get the information that I just described to you to either give to an individual programmer like myself, consultant, or to navigate through the programs that are out there to find one that's more in line with what you would need. All right, everybody. I hope that you took some wise information from this. Please comment below. Was this helpful? What is your experience with following the clickbait? Or the trying to follow something that someone has put out there for what has worked for them and then hasn't worked for you? I welcome all the experiences. Please comment. And until I see you again, be well on your path, and no matter what, you've got this. Get the right information, get the right support, and you've got this, whatever this is for your body goals.